According to IndieWire, Nickelodeon Studios launched Avatar Studios last week to expand the universe of the iconic TV show Avatar: The Last Airbender. Viacom CBS also announced that the show's creators Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, I think I'm butchering his name a little bit, will serve as co-chief creative officers. The plans of the studio is to produce numerous animated series and a theatrical animated film based on the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, for those of you who aren't as familiar with the show Avatar: The Last Airbender, in my opinion, this is one of the greatest TV shows of all time. And it takes place in a world where there are 4 types of element benders: air, water, earth, and fire. And there's every now and then there's one that's supposed to be the Avatar, the master of all 4 elements, that's supposed to bring balance to the world. And in this particular time, the Avatar is an airbender named Aang. He's a 12-year-old kid, and he sets out on a journey with 2 of his friends, Katara and Sokka, both of a water tribe, to guide Aang basically in learning all 4 of these elements and bringing balance to the world. Now, I went on for a while. Darius, were you as much of a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender? Like, are you now? Were you when the show was on?
I am actually. I absolutely love Avatar: The Last Airbender. The thing is that I was introduced to that series through the live action movie.
A bitch, isn't it?
And it's interesting because because even before watching the series, I didn't like it. Then I watched the series and I didn't like it even more.
I mean, I never sat down to
I was
watch
like, no.
from start to finish. I think it was on Nick one time, and I'm like, all right, let me give it a shot. Like 10 seconds, and I'm like, my stomach hurts, and I changed the channel.
Yeah, like honestly, I absolutely love Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think it's just such an amazing show, and even people behind that show have gone on to do great things, like Dave Filoni. He did some of the Star Wars stuff, and even Mandalorian right now. So he was an animator on that show.
Makes a lot of sense.
So I think, yep, he was an animator on that show. So it makes sense for Dave Filoni. But anyway, Avatar. The fact that Nickelodeon is creating its own studio just dedicated to Avatar, I think it's amazing. I think it's great because there's so much you can do in that world. Because there's one thing I respect from that show, and I've kind of felt a love to do myself, is world building. And that world is so dense and has so much to it that you can tell so many different stories. You can do so many different spin-offs. So hearing that Avatar Studios is a thing, and they're actually making an animated feature, and not only an animated feature, but now, if you remember a while ago, Netflix and they still are doing a live-action Avatar series, and the creators of Avatar were a part of that, but then they left. Now they're part of Avatar Studios, so that's like Netflix. You kind of messed up now.
That's really just draw entire contrast to the Netflix live-action adaptation, because like the show, you basically told Netflix to go fuck themselves by not only leaving their show, but by serving a part in creating this new studio that's dedicated entirely to making more content based on the world that Netflix themselves wants to do a live action adaptation of. So I think Netflix they really did back themselves into a corner, because of course the creators of the show let the Netflix live action adaptation due to creative differences too. So I think Netflix is they got a long road ahead of them in terms of that.
Yep, it definitely backfired. And I think again, Nickelodeon making Avatar Studios and to tell more stories within Avatar reminds me of Star Wars with Lucasfilm, where it's like they did Games and Lucas Arts, which was the game division. They had so many things that are dedicated to just Star Wars, and so I think Nickelodeon's in an interesting position to keep this franchise alive, really, because really it's still popular, it's still talked about, but not as much compared to Legend of Korra, because I know that was also received pretty mixed. But since Legend of Korra, not a lot has happened other than an Avatar series in Netflix is being developed. Then the creators left.
I think from the beginning, too, there was a bit of skepticism behind that Netflix show, even though the creators of the original show were attached for a while. So I just think that the fact that now they're even gone, like, I just don't have the most confidence in this of the world. But the fact...
Yeah. The second they left, I lost hope in that.
Like, whatever potential it had, like, basically went down the tubes. But I am really
I love
happy that the studio was launched because, as you were saying before, just from the world building alone, there's so much lore that they can tap into to produce some really quality television shows and even like some really cinematic content as well. And even then too, just from like I remember talking about Cobra Kai with someone recently, might have even been you. And I talked about how that show is like a masterclass in character development. Avatar: The Last Airbender, same exact boat. There's so much that goes on with each of the characters and how they grow and all the challenges they go through and how they change just as humans. It's an amazing, amazing show. It's a show with so many moving pieces, and that's just from the stuff that we've seen. So imagine what they can do with the stuff that we haven't seen. There's just so much that they can draw on. I can see this lasting for, if they do it right, of course, which since the original creators are involved, I can definitely see this going the right way. Absolutely. Yep. It's back on, and it's here to stay for a while. And this announcement overall really warmed my heart. And I didn't see this coming. I just figured, like, okay, the next thing we're going to get is going to be a Netflix show, and it's probably not going to be that great. But since this entire studio was launched, did you see this coming? I sure as all didn't.
I did not. This came out of the blue. I was like, wait, what? That's a dope name? More Avatar?
My friend showed me.
That's my first impression.
My friend Jordan showed me an Instagram post while we were out to dinner, and I'm like, is this fake? Is this? I can't believe this. This is awesome.
I love how you were like, oh, is that fake? That's how I felt after a recent reveal from Pokemon when they revealed the game. And I was like, no, this can't be real.
It's like, no, but like, in this situation, like, this felt too good to be true, but I guess I'm wrong. I guess I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just have to see where.
Let's just hope the creators stay on board, and I hope they're heads of the studio, because I don't know who the head of Avatar Studios are. I don't think they announced.
I don't know if they announced who the heads of the studios are, but I know that the creators of the show are serving as co-chief creative officers. And just a little bit more tidbits of information. Studio content will appear on Paramount Plus, the streaming service, Nickelodeon's platforms. It's going to go on other third-party platforms, and of course into theaters. Hence that theatrical animated film. So I think this is a great course.
Paramount Plus might be in a really better position than HBO Max at this point.
But I'm very happy with all the information that's come out about this. I'm so stoked. I can't wait to just get like more release dates and anticipated release dates and footage and whatnot. It's gonna be amazing. So, what are your thoughts on? What are your thoughts on more Avatar content coming out? Are you as psyched as me? Are you as psyched as Darius? I sincerely doubt it. Comment in the comment section below.